What up, everybody? Lonnie here with ChartsNLabs. I figured I'd make a video today after we've had now, what is it, Sunday? We've had Friday, the bots were running and had a great day. Saturday, the bots were running and continued that momentum. And, you look at it and it kind of almost looks like we might have stalled out a little bit. I just want to make sure that everybody understands what's going on. I know a lot of people are very new to these bots, and they want to know if they've turned red or if they're going down or what's going on. So I just want to get a little recap and kind of touch base with how or what's happening over the weekend right now. So this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Just giving you some familiarity with the markets to understand what's going on. So cool thing here. Look at this. Almost $50,000 in volume on PINX. Probably its biggest day ever. Very cool to see that. Down compared to the other day, but we're still holding this number right here, which is very exciting. If you go back in time, this number was around 0.3%, and now you're hanging close to 0.6. So that consistency and better volume is tremendous for the liquidity, for the project to be healthy. And a lot of that to do with is because these bots are filling and holding a lot of orders. Even if they're small transactions, at least they're continuing to happen. So what do we got going on here? I'm using Weebot. It's very similar to PINX. They're actually owned by the same. Weebot's just the American branded version of PINX.us, but it's allowing it to be Weebot.com so that it can be a little bit easier to find for people. So it's blue versus orange, but the layout and the functions are all the same. If you're international, it's PINX.com. We're all running these grid bots is kind of what we did in the Friday Zoom and what we were talking about. And when we come into these bots over here, let's do detail. So you bring up the bots, and here's my grid trading bot with $1,000 in it. The arbitrage profit is from the transactions actually done. The holdings profit is from what I bought. Now, I had a bot running. I've always had at least a bot running. I added another one on Monday when I did the Zoom with Nelson and his crew. And then I started another one on Friday after everybody who was on my Zoom had time to start theirs. I started mine to kind of push all theirs into profit and kind of kickstart the action going. I then ended up coming in buying and bought a bunch of coins. Price came up pretty drastically, and it got up to the 95, 96 range. And I wanted to try a couple things, and I was trying to edit one of them to have a range above $1. And sometimes when you edit a running bot and you change the parameters, it will close the bot. Sometimes you can edit it and it will let you. If you pause the bot, or if the bot is paused, you're able to edit your parameters with no problem. Just something to be mindful of. If you're at the top of your range and you set your range at the proper, kind of area of resistance, one of the things you can do is close the bot, which will create a sell order, and then restart a new bot with the new ranges. And that's probably the best way to do it. But again, you can edit, and it's no problem. But so when we look at what we got going on here again, we're looking at mine. I started mine at 93.49 after the price was up there around 95. So when you're looking at the placed orders, this one's 122 grids, and the price has to come back to 88.98 for me to get more. It has to go up to 89.85 for me to sell some and capture some profit before I can get this one. As soon as this one sells, I'll replace it with another buy. As soon as this one's bought, I'll replace it with another sell. So that's that back and forth profit making and capturing. That's allowing these bots to, one, create volume and allow you to accumulate more tokens. These are the transactions that I've done in the last 24 hours. Again, I reset this yesterday, so it's only been going for 21 hours with my average at 93.9. So on the parameters, this is the one thing you want to make sure that you're reinvesting, because if you are trying to accumulate more coins, that's what this is doing for you right here. And so I have some profit in the grid. And when I from transactions that I've done, once you do this, it will automatically buy more TXE for you. And it does it every time you set the price. So like right now, you see that my price was from 4:42 in the morning. If I turn it off and then I turn it back on, it'll reinvest my profits that I've got. And now I'm going to reinvest my profits every day at 11:30 in the morning on the West Coast time. So, and then that pushed us up into that 89.85 range. So I'm just waiting for that sell now because I bought some with my profits. I kind of fulfilled some of those orders. So when you're looking at these are your grids, buys and sells of what's placed. We can see that this is a much fuller order book. Look at all the orders that are ranging from the 89.58 to the 90.13 range, and we're only going down to 89.32. So a very, very tight order book. 0.006 is kind of the difference. If we go look at Dex Trade, for example, this is where a lot of people started at with TXE and began trading with. So it is still one of the more popular ones by volume because this is what people have the most familiarity with. It is a tier 3 exchange, but if we look at this, look at the order book on how low it gets. Now, granted, this is a little bit bigger order book range-wise, but you see how these decimals are not clean and organized where there's a decent range, which is creating this very choppy kind of price movement, even on the 15-minute. And if you go into the 1 hour, I'll even turn them into these guys. 15-minute. These shelves are from no volume, and that's because there's too big of a gap in between the orders. We don't have that clean, organized order book on the way up like that of Pinex and Weebot. Let's look at Bitmart, who is the largest one. This is the second longest exchange that TXE's been listed on, and it's one of the ones that is most active as far as the market maker is involved. And so a market maker is influencing this order book to help balance it. And you can even see now that this is still not the cleanest. There's still 0.092 to 0.098, and then we drop all the way down to 0.894493, and then it's 0.089 089. So again, the point of this, and we'll do one more just for MEXC. Spot. Is it going to automatically take me to TXE? Nope. TXE. 50-minute. So again, on this order book, you can see that there's smaller orders here and some decent sized orders. MEXC is another one that the market makers are using to help facilitate these orders and balance. And we got some action going on. It's moving around, but these are only 3 decimals wide. But we go from 0.894 to 0.934 and all the way down to 0.861. So again, just that clean, much more organized order book, and that's allowing more orders to fill because markets are going to chase liquidity. The liquidity is the orders. So if there's no orders placed, or if there's a big gap and you get these flat line candles where there's no volume, it's automatically going to eventually push downward. And by having the constant buys and the constant turnover, this creates a healthier algorithm and allows for momentum to stick longer, instead of when somebody comes in and makes one single buy buys it and it goes up a little bit and then immediately wipes back out. So like if somebody was to come in here and you see the sum USDT on there, you can go up and we'll just do this one, $40, and you would wipe out 42 quantity of TXC, right? It would run the price all the way up to 0.9004, and it would last 1 second before it came back to this order, or it would be replaced all the way down here because it's got to be cleaner. So if you do a bot order and you buy them at, and you fill these, 10 at a time, and then let this come back and sell, and then buy and then sell, you're creating that accumulation process to where you're able to get more coins. And by getting more coins, you are ultimately going to get to profit faster before your break even. So like when you look at my break even of 92.62 and you're like, holy crap, I'm forever away from my break even, all the transactions below that, I'm still making little profits. And when I accumulate more coins, even if this goes 89 to 91, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, after a couple of transactions, I'm actually going to be in profit because I may have started with, say, 1,000 TXC. And then by the time that I get there, well, now I have 1,026 TXC or whatever the actual number is. And then when it gets to break even, well, I'm no longer even. I'm actually 26 TXC ahead of where I was. So it's actually good for the price to pull back like this. When the price runs up too direct, your bot doesn't have any time to do the back and forth transactions. And this wasn't bad. This is good. I mean, I think everybody made a pretty good chunk of money. There's a lot of profitable traders and bot runners, which is phenomenal to see. But just a reminder, don't be afraid of this. And if anything, almost you want to see this, because as long as this is met by another run up, that's where you're going to get into your profit and bigger profit now, because now you're able to buy more coins on the way down. It goes back up and you get into profit not only faster but bigger. So no sweat here. As you can kind of zoom out a little bit, still in the 15-minute chart, still trying to establish these zones, the support and resistance areas. The $1 hurdle is always going to be very defiant. It's psychological. It's a big zone. There's a lot of emphasis there. People are going to be more willing to sell there, but there's going to be a catalyst or some momentum, a pivot, or something that can cause us to push over, and then it's in the next wave of profit. We're going to see like this 87 will become support now. So it's okay that we're in this 81 channel. We want to stay above this. Obviously, that would be great. And I think it's very doable. We go right there. So we want to stay above these. If it came into this, it wouldn't be the end of the world. There's no need to panic. The biggest thing is to not panic. We saw how quick the pivot can move up and how big the breakout can run up. Look at how much, a lot of them are turning back around now, but look how much of these guys all sold off and were down really badly. If we come over here and we'll look at Bitcoin in the hour, there was a huge sell-off, and now it's trying to find that little base and that little bottom. And you can look, and that's very similar to what TXC was doing, but just on an exaggerated level prior to this. Came down and it was looking for that level. We can see that this, from this point up to here, and this point, and then this point, were all increases. And then we had this point, an increase, and then we had this point, an increase. And even though we came back down here, technically this is an increase right here. This is a new higher level. When you come to the bottom of this and the bottom of this is still working on an increase, even though this looks down. So waiting for the breakout above this to come back and retest this. This is now going to be a little consolidation channel. There'll probably be some up, there'll be some down, there'll be some up, there'll be some down. And the bots will be very active in this point, which is great. You're accumulating coins, volume is turning over and consistent, because if you came in and you had just bought, $100 worth back when the price was 60 cents, that single transaction only gets counted for once. That volume is done one time. And so you would be up in the profit, but the difference between 89 cents and 92 cents, you're probably not selling that. But now your bot might do 100 transactions in that 2 cent gap and accumulate you 10 more coins. So instead of you buying 100 at 60 cents, now all of a sudden, you have, what is it, 60, and then another $40 would get you another 20. Was that like 90, 80 or 90, something like that? No, that's not that much. 75, 80, probably 80. So instead of having that 80 coins, you might actually end up with 90 on that same $100. I did that way wrong. I think it would be 100. You'd end up with 110. Sorry, math off the top of my head, and I think I double dipped backwards. But point regardless, what you end up buying just one time is one time and done, and then it's sitting holding, and it's not, and it's idle. But with these bots, if you're not able to make the transactions and trades, the bot's doing it for you, and that same volume now of your $100 might become the same volume equivalents of like $400. And then now you also have accumulated 3 or 4 more extra coins that you didn't even have to buy. So and it churns and burns and it keeps going. So just wanted to give everybody an update. Don't be afraid of the little pullback. In fact, celebrate it a little bit, because this is allowing you to get more coins. And so now on the run back up, when somebody comes in and wants to buy ISK, and they're like, holy crap, it's 10% off if I buy TXC and then buy ISK. You'll see this price come back up to 95 cents or something, maybe even closer to $1. And then people are going to start looking in the eyes, and we got some positive momentum now. And you can see that the value of TXC is not 60 cents. It's closer to $1 right now. And people are going to realize that there's mining equipment already purchased that's actively mining. That alone is worth at least $1.20 of what's already bought. Of what's actually already installed, of what's actually already bought, it's closer to $3.50. So for somebody who's looking at this project as a solid foundation, that it's not going anywhere, and I think the fact that TXC was willing to take TXC as payment to go into to accept for phase 3 growth shows that this ecosystem is expanding and growing. And they'll love to take $1 TXC, and then they'll sell it for more, and then you can come back and get it for $1. So that should solidify a lot of confidence in people to buy this beyond $1 and not just at $1. So it might take a little while for people to fully digest and see all that, and maybe it's Tuesday after ISK mines and the miner update call, but people are going to see that this was actually a solid moment of confidence in the ecosystem and in this project continuing. So the bots are going to help build these levels of support, because we want a clean path up. And I like showing this, and I'm sure I've already lost a lot of people because I'm 18 minutes in. But here's WEX. WEX is the last exchange to add TXC. It wasn't added until 11:25, and that was back when those market makers were getting active and the liquidity was circulating, and we saw this 415 high on WEX, and then there was all this action up at this level before the sell-off, a little bounce, and then a sell-off, and now it's really been in this channel. And so if you look at it as just this, if this was the only price you were seeing somebody, and this is when TXC itself as a market has been has had the most participation from its community, is just this time span right here, mid-December through January, and now starting February. And this is not even remotely scary to anybody. This is a hurdle we're trying to get over, I guess, right now, you could say. And you can go horizontal ray from the top of this one, and another one from the bottom of this one, and look at that. That's where we're at, in the 123 to 88 cent range. So for somebody who's looking to start a bot, if you want to set one that's a little bit more hands off, come a little bit above it and do like 130, and come a little bit below it and do like 170 or 175, and that way you're going to be active for this whole time. Or you can try to be a little bit tighter and do something closer to like 78 or 82, and then in that 121 range, and then at the end of it you take profit, sell it, and start the new one. So that's kind of how these bots are going to activate. This is how kind of you'll utilize them, is follow these 40 to 60 cent windows and set them above and below a little bit, and then let them run and accumulate while it's going in that zone, because we're going to see this price action of going up and down, up and down, and up and down until there's a breakout, and then it'll go to the next level, and then it'll go up and down, and then it'll go up, and then it'll go up and down. And that's healthy. That's healthy building. And this is the coolest part though right here. This is the exciting part that everybody should be looking at, is that volume has been increasing steadily since middle of December. This is just on WEX, and it's the most unknown exchange that TXE has, and it's still growing. So wait till CoinMarketCap knows that this one's available. Wait till more people see that this one's available, and you start getting the data spread to it. You're gonna see the volume pick up and more outside liquidity, aka money, coming into this project and helping shoulder the growth. So there's your little update on the bots and what's going on. Looking at the red, it obviously is a bummer. You know, these guys were super green when I was looking at them. When I was looking at them the other day. And I had the ones that were started back in the 57 cent, 60 cent range. And I don't mind. These ones I'm up to 1,000 on this one, and I have 1,500 on this one, and they're active. I got 122 grids and 111 grids, so I got some busy bodies going. Once we get a breakout, or maybe I get some money coming in next week, I will probably start another one in the 40 to 60 grid range. And then I'll probably do another one, and I don't know exactly what I'll do for that one. So we'll be moving them around, but I will probably get another one started next Friday. If you are still here, next Friday, I'm going to do the afternoon slot for my payday series in education. I want to try to get some of the international crowd. We got Australia, New Zealand, Belgium, and some other folks in Europe, and I want to be able to be available for them to ask any questions about these and make sure that they understand. In the market as well. Pionex.com, the international version, is not available in all countries, so there's a lot of people who can't use these bots that are automated, but there is a way to help you do this type of volume help. It just won't be automated for you. You have to do it manually, and we could talk about how to do that. We can also talk about whatever else you guys want. So bring your questions. Next Friday, going to be in the afternoon. Probably 8:30 Eastern time, about that 5:30 West Coast time for myself, which will be 7:30 Texas time. Somebody told me that's lunchtime over there for those guys on the international side, across the pond. So we'll probably do something like that. And I look forward to seeing you guys. It'll be my second Zoom that I'm leading, and hopefully I don't have the ums and the nervousness, but I was really excited to do that last one, and I'm excited to do this next one. So I still will have my weekly videos going up, my day trading videos and such, and any kind of other breakdowns and requests that we get along the way during the week. But I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. Have a good rest of your weekend.